my family's just a regular family. And then when I got part of this Glockner, it's a bigger event. I don't know what else I kind of like that small life, but actually, even Andy wanted a small life. He really wasn't one to want.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm Barb. I'm the matriarch. I always take some pride in that.
Right.
The mother. I just came from a small Catholic family. Went to Catholic schools. My mom stayed home, although she worked a little bit when we got older. But Dad worked 3 jobs to give us the necessities. We had no frills. We didn't take family vacations. But we had everything we needed. I didn't know we were poor. But life was good. Life was good.
New Local Legends Podcast. Real small town success stories.
You have quite the lineups.
We believe that if people know better, they can do better.
When you kissed me by the river.
Sponsored by Glockner Enterprises.
As pies are made at Glockner Chevrolet.
Time to turn.
Rich Moon.
Welcome to the Speakeasy.
The amount of love and compassion.
The hope that's been bubbling up in the last few years.
The finer things about Portsmouth.
You just don't see that everywhere.
Local legends only.
I like that description too. I feel like I hear that a lot, and even in the book Dreamland that Sam Quinones wrote, he said people in the time frame where you were growing up with Dreamland and everything was very quaint, homey kind of lifestyle, and a lot of people say that we didn't know we were poor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It didn't really matter.
Dad was home for dinner every night. Mom cooked. We sat on a porch, and Dad smoked a cigarette. And the kids the boys played stickball. And when it got dark, we played flashlight tag. It was all about families. You'd wave at the families across the street, and they'd wave back. It was a great life. It was a great life.
Well, how did when you and Andy met and started your family, can you tell us about some of the beginnings of that, Barb? When him getting involved with the business, what your role was, and just what that all looked like. I think people are curious to hear.
Well, Andy and I went to there were 2 different Catholic schools in Portsmouth. One, Holy Redeemer, which is where I went to school, which is what now Notre Dame Elementary, and he went to St. Mary's grade school, which both were grades 1 through 8. We met first day of high school at the lockers. My maiden name was Goodman, right there next to Glockner. Oh, that cute boy next to me was pretty exciting. So we dated through high school. As sophomores, we started dating, and we've been together ever since.
Wow.
We knew we wanted a big family. We knew that God was first, family was second, and so we, and that's what we did. We started our family. Andy I think he had other ideas. He wasn't going to be part of this Glockner empire as his father had started. I think he wanted to be a forest ranger, actually.
That's
amazing. At least for a short period of time. He would have been happy with that. But that's not what God and his father had in mind. So he got the call one day that Uncle Bill did not want this Portsmouth Volkswagen store, that I'm dependent on you. So
Uncle Bill went and started, was it Pops, right?
And he did. He did. He didn't want the family business as much as Ebby did either. So, and it's not for everybody.
Right, of course. Well, your family's held exceptionally high, like the name is, within the community, and I think what you're describing, just kind of this very values-first mindset, is what has really differentiated you, especially in the automotive industry, where it's like 30-day mindset, short-term profit kind of mindset. Well, instead of a short-term profit, you guys have gravitated towards long-term vision. There's some kind of differentiator there that's made y'all last for this many generations. I mean, it's really uncommon. Do you have any kind of insight or thoughts on how you all have transferred your values from one generation to another?
Well, with the Glockner family, as with mine, God was always first. Andy's mom and dad were daily communicants, as were Andy and I. And when you put God first in your life, everything else kind of falls into place.
Right.
Faith family is second. You know, Ebby was home for dinner every night, no matter how busy he was. And Andy always came home. We ate at 6 o'clock.
Right.
And we all ate together at that dinner table. And when you put God and family first.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I like that, Barb, because it makes it really makes like whatever amount of money you guys have at any point in time, it's a non-factor, really.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. It was never about the money. Never about the money.
Right.
And when Andy finally came to the terms that he was going to do this family business thing, he resigned himself to the fact that he was providing jobs for many, many people and giving them a livelihood. And then he took good care of his people. He was at work. Everyone knew that Andy was there, and they depended on that. I mean, he was there at the beginning, and he was there at the end of the day, and he took good care of his people. He loved to walk through the shops.
Right.
He knew all of his employees. Although when we started at Portsmouth Volkswagen, Porsche Audi, there were only like 17 employees, but he touched base with them every day. Every day. And when he went up to, the Glockner building, it was a little harder, but he did it.
Yeah.
He really did.
Oh, Barb, I'm curious on your perspective on, like, if you get in any kind of, like, deep conversation with the boys, like Mike or Tim or Joe, they often, like, start talking about their childhood, like, and especially at the dam, like, that is definitely super important to them, and you guys still, like, we had a function out there Saturday and everything.
They had a good life.
Yeah.
They really did. It was idyllic. Mom and dad that were always there. Their friends were always welcome at the house. So we never knew how many kids we'd have. And if there were multiple boys at the Monday Night Football, we'd feed them all. And, life was simple but good.
You're both really taking on this huge family vision and business and, I guess, responsibility, right?
Well, we tried to teach the kids to work hard and to always do the right thing.
Yeah.
Not sometimes. You always do the right thing.
Right.
I think that was pretty key.
Yeah, of course. And that's again not that's a long-term vision and like strong relationship kind of mindset versus short-term profit and getting more, or like how much more can I get from the community? How much more can I get from my customers? Right?
It was and the Glockners, I think in general, are a service-minded family. And a big part of that was from Ebby.
Right.
As more so than Andy's grandfather. Ebby really started that. It's all about what we do for others. And he instilled that in Andy and his sisters. Right. And then Andy and his sisters also tried to instill that in their children. It's all about service. That's what God taught us, and that's what we tried to teach our children.
Were you guys always started your family at the dam, or did you start?
We did.
Okay.
We lived. As Sue and Steve did too. His older sister, but we lived in house number 2. Andy's mom and dad had house number 1. There's 5 houses, and we at one point wanted to name these houses, and I thought, no, that's just house 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's it's easier that way. But Andy and I spent the first 5 years at the dam. Weekends, Andy's mom and dad showed up at the dam and would family dinners, and Andy's sister Sue lived next door. So our 2 boys, Tim and Joe, and her oldest son Greg were the 3 musketeers. They were with a year of each other, and a lot of good stories of 3 little boys. I think that's when Nana was the happiest, when the grandchildren started coming, and she loved coming to the dam and spending time with the kids.
What memories stick with you, Barb, in that period of time?
Oh golly, we had a party line. a telephone party line. No, our kids don't even know what that is. We
Yeah,
had
you're gonna have to
we had a
explain
metal antenna outside, and we got 3 channels on the television. Andy would have to go outside if we wanted to change the channel. He would go outside and turn the antenna.
Amazing.
Steve would come home, and he and Andy. Steve was the new dentist in town, so he had no patience at first.
Okay,
So life
yeah.
was hard, and
Right.
Andy was, and, he wanted to quit every other day. Yeah, he didn't want to do this
I
anymore.
remember-
And then
I
it was like
remember him
once a
saying that.
week, once a month. It got better and better. But Andy and Steve would meet outside, and Pop had a beer keg, a one-tap beer keg out front, and they would meet at the beer tap and have a beer and discuss their day.
Amazing.
But it got, how, they just leaned on each other. So life was hard. You think that the Glockners, everything, we were rich and famous. No, it was tough going at first.
Yeah,
At
yeah.
first, we lived regular like everybody else.
And when even Sue.
Good memories, though.
Yeah, yeah, right.
Good. We ate together a lot. Sue would come over in the morning and say, "Let's have, meatloaf for dinner. You make the vegetable, and I'll whip up a pie." And we would, a lot of family, a lot of good family time.
Of course. Well, yeah, and like you're saying, when business is hard, it does make you kind of lean on each other more, I imagine.
Yeah.
Sue was even telling when she was just speaking about her childhood with Ebby. She was talking about how they would drive to the dealership every day, but they didn't have a car. They took a cab. So there was like a lot of growing pains in creating something this sustainable and significant in the community, right?
Yeah. Oh yes. Oh yes.
What do you learn from Eb and Joanne and kind of watching them and becoming a part of the story that they were a part of?
I think their best lessons for me was their faith. Like I say, they went to Mass every morning at the monastery, which we ended up living up the hill from the monastery
Oh, really?
for 27 years.
Oh, wow.
So we built the house up on the hill, and Andy and I would meander down the hill every morning. He would run and then meet me at Mass, and I would meet him, and then I would exercise afterward. But that was a daily part of our life. And just that importance of keeping God central in your life, I really got that. And my mother was, my dad called her Sister Dorothy. So I didn't just get my faith from my in-laws.
Of
I got
course,
that
yeah.
from my family too. But that was and the importance of family. It's no matter what happens, family needs to come
Sure.
before a lot of these other activities that we end up in.
So it was always that you mentioned St. Mary's and Holy Redeemer, right? You guys were kind of part of both communities, or where did you guys go to Mass?
Well, all my life growing up, I went to Holy Redeemer, and I didn't even know St. Mary's was there for the most
Really?
part.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it was a half a mile down the same street, but I didn't, because we always went to Holy Redeemer. Andy's
Right.
family always went to St. Mary's, and Andy's family was central in the building of that
Oh, really?
church. In fact, the priest, when they were building St. Mary's, stayed with Alex and his family at one point. So
wow.
there's just a lot of history with the Glockners and at St. Mary's mostly.
Sure.
Yeah.
Even like Megan Baum, I was talking to her just about. I didn't realize like the cathedrals around here have so much history to them. Like when she was talking about like. I forget what church it is that was built specifically for the steel workers, and kind of like the aesthetic was a part.
Oh, St. Monica's in New Boston.
Oh, is it? Okay, okay. As far as Holy Redeemer and the history
Holy
there-
Redeemer's the Irish parish, because this is a city of immigrants, and
Right.
the Irish and a lot of German immigrants, and they melded together on 3rd and Madison.
Oh.
They're the original first church, but the Germans said, we want a Catholic priest that can speak German, so they split and they built St. Mary's, and so the Germans could have a German priest, and the Irish could have their
yeah.
priest too.
Well, and that's incredible, because being like Protestant, it feels like like when we used to go to Revolution, where Matt Rollins was he like built a little congregation over on Chillicothe
yeah.
Street. It was like the old J.C. Penney's building,
Right,
you know?
right.
It's like which there's value in that too. Just congregating anywhere.
Right.
But I love that these cathedrals have so much history, and you guys pay homage to that. I think that's special.
Yeah.
I guess what's important to you, Barb, with the Glockner vision? So we've been asking a lot of people that inside and outside of the organization.
What pacified Andy was the fact that he knew he was giving people jobs
Right.
and supporting the community. Without jobs, we were lost.
Right.
So just employing many people, and Glockner's does.
Right.
They employ many and give them a livelihood, and
It's kind of like a synergistic relationship. Like as we succeed, if the community succeeds, right, and vice versa. And so I know you all still do a lot for the churches because those are important communities to you as well. Can you talk about maybe any of those projects that are exciting to you as far as what you do with the church congregation?
well, Abby always asked the kids to always make sure that the Catholic schools stay open and the churches.
Oh, wow.
So those are two of his top priorities. So we've always been big supporters of St. Mary's, and as well as the Notre Dame schools. Well, right now we've got a new priest, and things are a little.
You're in a transitional phase?
Yeah, we are. We are in a transitional phase. We're not
That's
sure
good,
where we
yeah.
fit in there right now.
Right.
But whatever needs to be done, Andy and I are right there.
Okay,
Right
awesome. And then, I know you guys also, like, one of the projects that I think is really cool that Glockner's been a part of is, like, the mural projects. Like, I think that was...
And that's Andy's baby.
Is it? Okay.
He loves that.
What do you
He
think
loves
inspired his interest in that?
Oh, just walking along that wall
Right.
and seeing you see it portrayed there so beautifully, the history. And it's all about history.
Right.
If you don't write it down or put it down, somehow we forget.
Yeah.
And then you lose that.
Like, when I was new to Portsmouth, my family's from here, but I didn't start living here until Nick and I went to college. I was immediately, like, kind of granted access to the historical narrative. Like, when I walked along the flood wall, it being right by the school, or went for a run, like, I got a glimpse into what the city was about and what made us who we are, right? And I think that's super important. And
We need a reminder. We need to be reminded.
Right.
We forget.
Right.
It's so easy to forget where we come from, because if you don't know where you come from, you don't know where you're going.
Sure. And I think that's a cool part too of the projects that Tim and them have, like, empowered me to be a part of. Like, things like this allow access to other people, maybe even outside of the organization, to find success like you all have. And I think that's an important thing. It's a part of that same kind of synergistic relationship of like, we win when you win kind of thing.
Well, I never get tired of driving down Market Street or 2nd Street and seeing Glockner's with this new building on that corner, cleaning up the corner.
Right.
It's what they've done in this Bonyfiddle area in the last few years has been amazing.
What street did you grow up on, Barb? Just to go in a little bit more of the history, I'm curious of what things look like and how you've seen the city grow.
Summit Street up on the hill.
Were you?
But I just love this Bonyfiddle area. It's an amazing, and again, it's where we come from.
Right.
That's where the Glockner started, and that like I say, that St. Mary's Church is 150 plus years old.
Wow,
So
yeah.
that's a lot of history. Ebby's he had a postcard, or actually Uncle Bill did, of the boats bringing in the cars on the riverbank and driving them up. This river is where we came from. At least where Portsmouth came from. So.
Right. Well, and I also like, I didn't even see any of it when I was here, but I get nostalgic hearing about, like, the old businesses and finding, like when you go to Market Street, Susan O'Neill and I guess Paul is, like, real big into collecting a bunch of
Loves
stuff.
Loves that.
Yeah. I found they have an ashtray in the glass case back where the seating area is that says, like, it's like Gunther's. Is that what it was called? Yeah. It's like a duck with its feet kicked up on the bar, Do you remember this place?
We never went there.
Okay,
We
right.
never went there, but I heard about it.
I guess my granddad had told me one story about where he would go get pizza there. You know what I mean? There, I guess it was a bar and pizza place
It was
or something.
Evidently, it had good pizza. Again, we ate it at the house every night. I remember
Really?
going out as a family once
Uh-huh.
on Mother's Day.
Yeah.
We just did not go out.
Well, that's cool. That
We
it was-
missed all those fun places.
But what you did and said was it was more communal, which
Yeah.
is pretty cool. Yeah. What? Let me ask you this, Barb. What did you guys? Do you remember the first car that Andy brought home from the dealership? Like, what did you guys drive?
Well, he had a Corvair,
Oh, did he really?
a gold Corvair.
Oh, wow.
And I remember when he had knee surgery as a junior in high school on his right knee. So he put his right knee, it was a bucket seat, over into my seat. He always put a pillow in the middle, and I just scoot over and sit next to
Really?
him. But that gold Corvair was pretty special. Pretty
That's
special.
awesome.
Nothing fancy, just a neat car.
I like this Olivia and I were looking at it the other day, the picture of him in a full suit with a mustache and the hair and everything standing next to that. It's like a rabbit, a Volkswagen rabbit. Yeah.
Well, when I look at our wedding pictures, he's got these big old pork chop mustache, hairy. I can't believe his mom let him get married like
Right,
that. She
right.
was but that was Andy. You know?
Well, Barb, let's conclude with this. We got a lot of employees that listen to this as well, and I guess the people that are part of the community here that are interested in you all's story, and we're all like a part of it, and more than just your bloodline. Glockner's allowed a lot of us to come together, which is really cool. I like when Andy says, surround yourself with good people. I think that was what he answered when I asked him what he thinks the secret to success is.
Let me interject real quickly
Yeah,
in there. It's not only the Glockner bloodline, but those of us like me that they've let in to this
Right.
Glockner family we've had.
Of course.
There have been some good spouses and just like Joanne.
Right.
Nan wasn't a blood Glockner, but she
Yeah.
was key to the
Of
family.
course.
So there's, I'm glad that they let us in. When Andy started taking me to family events, I thought, man, this is a fun group.
Yeah.
They sang, and there were 44 grandchildren. It was awesome. It was
Right.
awesome.
Yeah, there's a song book up on the bookshelf upstairs. But no, you're right, and I honestly think that's the key. From everything I've gathered, Barb, what seems to set you guys apart is that you have these values that you're very passionate about sharing with your children and your grandchildren, and that's why that is the constant in success across generations. Not that there's not hang-ups, or you guys haven't had struggles, but just that vision has stayed strong, I think, has been the key, which is pretty cool. But yeah, for employees listening, for people of the community listening, I guess, what do you think you could share with them as far as what you want your family to be known for?
Andy he would talk about his employees, and he said, they don't work for me, they work with me. He was key on that we do this as a team.
Yeah.
The employees have been so important to Andy over the years, and I think they've loved him
Right.
because he loved them,
Sure.
and we want to keep that going. It's a big family.
Of course. Yeah. That's a good way to describe it, and I think people throw that term around loosely, but you all really live it as far as how you include your employees. And I know how big of a success factor my wife's been in my life, so it's I know that just from what the boys tell, they brag on you all the time, Barb. So I'm glad you were able to share at least a little bit about your perspective. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Yeah. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Portsmouth, Ohio.